So the day after the Tasmanian AFL team had won the 19th licence, former Tasmanian Premier Peter Gutwein did an interview on Tasmania Talks. I then rang the station and pointed out a few of the errors that he made, and I was allowed onto the radio where I went through these errors one by one. We're now going to have a look at part of the interview with Peter Gutwein on Tasmania Talks, and then we're going to have a look at me coming onto the radio station and explaining why what he's saying was completely and utterly factually incorrect. All right, let's have a look now. First of all, it's Peter Gutwein, the former Premier of Tasmania. And then I'm going to come on, this is about probably 20 minutes later, and go through some of the reasons why what he was saying was factually wrong. Let's have a look.
Outcome. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of controversy. It's been a divisive thing. The money shouldn't have been spent there. $1 billion on a stadium, the precinct, the Prime Minister in town. What do you think about all of that kind of reaction that the announcement will create? And also, will it end the divisions?
Well, look, if we think we're the first place on the planet that's actually had a debate over a stadium, then we need to have a good think about things. Every single stadium build that's occurred in this country, every major stadium build around the world, always has people pointing out that public funds could be spent on different purposes. But in the main, once stadiums are built, once they're providing the outcomes that were originally envisaged, most people take the view that, well, how could we have ever done without this? And I think that's exactly what will happen in Tasmania. And before you go on, what seems to have been missed here is that when I announced the stadium, over 12...
My number 1300 001012 on our morning show, Glenn. Peter Gutwein. Yeah, very hard to dissuade away from his dream, though, wasn't it, Glenn? Very hard. Very difficult to get to realise it. He mentioned also the fact that there were stadia built from taxpayers' money, but you disagree, wouldn't you?
Oh, 100%. Waverley Park was built by the VFL, not 1 cent of taxpayers' money, not one protest.
Membership money.
Ever protested it. VFL money.
Yep.
Waverley Marvel Stadium was built with not 1 cent of taxpayers' money. Again, nobody protested
that's it. Money.
Football Park was built with not 1 cent of taxpayers' money.
What about What about Perth Subiaco?
Yep, not 1 cent of taxpayers' money. It was paid for by the WAFL. And keep in mind, they weren't getting $643 million a year from TV rights, but they could still pay for their own stadium. Even the Carlton Football Club, when they built the Legend Stand, they took out a bank loan.
Look, when he was talking about that, and now you're talking to me about the cost of it all, on another genre of sport, another code, there was an oval, wasn't there, in Sydney, where a fence and a stand collapsed during a game. Fortunately, no one was badly injured, and the state government said, well, we can't do that. Members are going to have to build that from the club itself. So they didn't dive into... Do you remember that? There was a shocking footage of this...
I don't actually remember that, but the trend of the taxpayer paying for stadiums, that's about a 20-year trend. Before that, no taxpayer ever paid for any stadium. Every single stadium in Australia was paid for by the
members,
the governing body or the club.
That's
that was it.
If you wanted an oval, build it. Yeah.
Exactly. But now there is an expectation from the NRL, the AFL, even the A-League, that every single piece of infrastructure should be paid for by the taxpayer. And now we've even got in the rugby league, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but the NRL has threatened to move the NRL Grand Final and to sell it to the highest paying state unless the state government pay for the Penrith Panthers Stadium.
Well, they've done with other sports too, haven't they? Done it with the F1, they've done it with Formula 1, they've done it with other sports as well, and said, well, they did it to us, didn't they? If we don't get a stadium, we don't get a team. Now, how are we supposed to raise that sort of money? So it comes out of your and my pocket.
It's corporate welfare on steroids, is what it is.
No, I was told that the AFL isn't in the realm of by building stadiums. They don't have money to do.
Well, they used to be. That's the funny thing is when they didn't have a lot of money, they used to build them. They used to take out bank loans and build them. Now that they've got billions of dollars in TV right money, No, that's the job of the taxpayer now. It's absolute nonsense.
Yeah, it's gone crazy.
When it suits them, they're a business, and then when it suits them, they're a charity. And they're actually they're considered a non-for-profit.
They are too. Not for profit. That's it. They don't pay tax. They don't pay tax. So there's more questions to go. We'll keep following, Glenn, but stay on it. It's always good to hear from you. You've got a lot of sense in what you say. There's more questions to ask, and I'll try and do all of our biddings. Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
This is LAFM Morning.